Every curriculum on the planet promises competency and mastery. And in that regard, ShillerLearning is no different. But danger lurks when competency is the sole focus. At ShillerLearning, we have an equally important goal, something no other curricula has: closure. In my intro video on competence and closure, the 2 C's, you have seen that there are 4 outcomes to every lesson. Competency, yes or no. Closure, yes or no. 2 times 2. 4 possible combinations of competency and closure. Every single time your child does a lesson, there will be one of these 4 possible outcomes based on competence and closure. This is the first of the 4-part series on the 2 C's and the 4 learning outcomes. Today's video covers the scenario when a student has both fast competency and fast closure. I'll show you how to recognize this, the bad outcomes that typically occur, and what you may do instead to generate good outcomes where children are excited to learn and perform at their highest level. You might remember Sally from the intro video. Sally is studying 4th grade. She loves math and gets it quickly. The topic of today's work is fractions. Within 5 minutes, she gets it and is ready to move on. But because she's expected to spend 45 minutes on today's lesson, Sally is bored silly. Sally doesn't have to be a public school student. She could be any child learning math, whether at home or in the classroom. Sally quickly achieves both competency and closure. She gets it and wants to move on. She has quick competency, or mastery if you like, and is confident in that mastery. This usually happens when the learning style of the child doesn't match that of the lesson. For example, when the child is primarily kinesthetic and the lesson is visual or involves writing, the child wants to run around, jump and dance, but the lesson requires them to sit and just hold a pencil and draw or write something. So they do it and they get it, but repetition or drilling in this case, it's just not appropriate, because it's making the child do something they really don't want to do and has no interest in doing. Requiring the child to spend 45 minutes on this only fosters frustration and disrespect. There's no benefit from forcing them to do it. After all, they got it and are ready to move on. Maria Montessori says, follow the child. Don't feel that because you paid for those drills, your child must do them. No publisher, ShillerLearning, or anyone else knows what your child is ready to do on that particular day with that particular topic. But the child does. So when a child has fast competency and closure, next lesson please, even if practice problems are left undone. When your child has competence and closure, the best outcomes occur when you follow the child and simply move on. With ShillerLearning, we cover each topic at different times from all 4 learning styles: visual, tactile, kinesthetic, and auditory. The next time we cover that topic with a different learning style, say with manipulatives or with movement activities, the child will cement his or her knowledge with a different set of neurons in the brain. Don't be surprised or disappointed when your child covers 10 or more lessons in a single day. They avoid the boredom from drilling a lesson that they've already learned and on which they've achieved closure. Of course, our curriculum includes practice problems to ensure children have the opportunity to demonstrate their competence. But again, if after 1 or 2 problems the child clearly gets it and is bored, it's time to move on and maintain the learning momentum. Don't assume that just because we provided 10 practice problems that that's the correct number of problems to do. It probably isn't. We encourage parents to be transparent about the 2 C's and to encourage children to develop self-awareness and to gauge their own competency and closure. These might be big words for a 4 or 5-year-old, but use them anyway. When you sense boredom, go ahead and ask, do you think you have competence with this lesson? Or are there some things you're not sure about? And do you think you have closure? And finally, you are in charge of your own learning. If you think you have competence and closure, we may proceed to the next lesson. By knowing and recognizing this lesson outcome, and by having your child gain that same ability, you've just removed a key obstacle to children enjoying their studies and reaching their full potential. In our next video in this series, we'll explore what happens when a student has competency but not closure. What we suggest may be a surprise.